Happening right now, a Hendricks County man faces sentencing in a child exploitation and molestation case. Paul Suits of Canby faced more than 20 charges, accusing him of having sex with young children, in some cases filming it. A brave woman uncovered the evidence and went straight to police. Right now, Suits is expected to face 50 years in prison as the judge discusses his fate and a plea deal in court that was supposed to start at 8:30 this morning. Here's the question. What do you do if you find out a child is in this situation? Lynn Clinton is the Associate Director of Susie's Place and joins us now with answers. First, for those that don't know, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. These tough topics are hard for some to talk about. What do you guys do at Susie's Place? I mean, we kind of mention you a lot because you're right there in the middle of a lot of investigations at times.
Yeah, we basically assist in the investigation of child abuse and neglect. So our role is to provide what's called the forensic interview. We're completely neutral, so we bring the kiddos in so that they can talk about their experiences with just one highly trained person who can interview them in an age-appropriate manner.
Yeah, you're trying to get to the truth, right? In a safe way for them to be able to feel like they can. I want to talk specifically about this new program for parents. I thought it was really important, especially during this time. I had a mother reach out to me yesterday. We didn't even know about this man and the accusations, and she said, will you please do something positive? So that's why we had you in. We found out you guys have a new program. What is it?
It's called Keeping Kids Safe, and the whole goal is to give parents the tools to be able to protect their kids. So it's arming them with the language to be able to have the appropriate conversations with your kiddos. That often can be the hardest part. We all grew up learning about stranger danger and that kind of thing, but the reality is a lot of the perpetrators that kids are encountering are people that they care about and people that their trusted adults care about. So our goal is to arm parents with the tools to be able to have those conversations with kiddos, to take away any of the feelings of blame or shame, and then report it to the right authorities so that investigations can happen.
How, if somebody's watching, wants to get involved in this program, is it online? Do they come someplace? Are there books? How does that all work?
It's actually, the Susie's Place curriculum is online right now. So if you go onto our website, you can sign up for one of 2 of the virtual trainings that we have in August. And then we're hoping that as interest grows, we'll be able to offer that even more often and then potentially in person.
Yeah, and every case is different. And in this particular case that we set the story up with, which I'm not asking you about specifically, but you know, there was a woman that felt in her gut that something wasn't right. She then went into the phone and was horrified, but immediately called police. And I wonder, a lot of people might not in that moment wondering what they're seeing, how to handle it, afraid of the person that may be in the home or that they know. Do you give advice too on, you know, when you're in a shocking situation, what do you do when maybe your mind is all over the place?
Right. I think that is the hardest part because none of us really know what we're going to do if we're in that situation. What we do find is that people are hesitant to call and report because they start to talk themselves out of it. There has to be an explanation for what I've seen or something like that. But what people have to do is, if you see something, say something. It's like every scenario. And remember that the Department of Child Services and law enforcement, their job is to investigate. So you don't have to know 100% all of the details of what's happening, but if you have that feeling in your gut that something is wrong, let the professionals investigate.
Yeah, good advice too. And a lot of what we're seeing here is, you know, it's titled Child Abuse Prevention, and we've been talking about what to do basically after the fact or when you feel something. Is there a way though to really prevent, you know, I'm thinking that moms and dads out there that have that fear of, I'm leaving my child at the babysitter today. How would I ever really know? Or I think I would know. Is there a way to prevent this?
That's the hardest part. There's not really. There's no step-by-step guide that will keep your kids safe and guarantee that they'll never be a victim, nor is there a certain population that we can target to be able to say, if we look right here, we're going to see the victims. So what we encourage parents to do is just have open and honest communication with their kids at all times. Make sure you arm them with the language to be able to come to you with any concerns about feeling safe or uncomfortable. Things like teaching them the proper names of body parts so that they're as comfortable talking to you about issues with a private body part as they would be with their arm or their head.
Lynn, thank you so much. And again, hopefully more people know about this new program. Again, if you have concerns about any of what we talked about, it could help save a child, speak up. The Department of Child Services Child Abuse Hotline also is 800 5556. And for more information and resources to learn more about this, head to fox59.com/Angela Answers, and we'll connect you back to Susie's Place. Thank you.
Thank you.